Hi guys, today is Thursday, December 5th, and it's day 5 of Vlogmas. And the community question from Mirth and Reverence is, who are your heroes? And funnily enough, this is like the 10th video where I've attempted this. I'm really struggling with it. So I looked up hero and it defined it as, I thought it was, but I hoped it wasn't. See, this is a hard one for me because I don't see heroes. People I look up to aren't necessarily heroes. To me, a hero is someone that shows courage and integrity and honor, and, they might be the one that's standing up against the tide, doing the right thing when they're the only one doing it, and it takes courage, and they know that it could put it all on the line for them, but they're going to do it anyway. That's a hero. The people I look up to aren't really heroes. They're just people that they've gotten achievements and they've done the things that I'd like to do. But that's just me. So I don't offer offense to anyone for that. That's just the way I kind of look at it. I think hero is a little bit more special than, like, say, I know there are people that look up to, like, the Kardashians. Not my thing. Not really what I would consider heroes, but you can understand the difference, I hope. And I hope that's very clear. So the people that I look up to and admire, especially like in the writing world is where my focus lies, are people like Stephen King. There's a book he has called On Writing, and it's his actual journey of writing and lots of informational things. And he talks in there about how he sent in, there was a whole wall of paper before he ever even got one single person that wanted to publish him. So that is admirable because he didn't give up. He kept at it and he kept going and he kept going. That is admirable. That is the kind of thing that I look up to, if that makes sense. So that is one on my list. It's people like that they don't give up. They have strong beliefs and they stand by them and they follow through. One of my biggest people that I admire is my mom. And the reason being is that she was somewhat of a feminist without ever using the label. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story because it suits and it'll explain a little bit. So my parents moved here into Southwest Washington. There's a paper lumber mill called Weyerhaeuser. And back in the day, that was the really good jobs. And so my parents had my grandma's sister's husband. They lived here and he worked here and he was able to get them on. So my parents moved here in the early 70s. So my mom was one of the very first women down there at the mill. And this was in a time when that was kind of unusual and they didn't have a lot of women. So she was really like a front runner for now. It's, much more evenly numbered. But at that time, she was one of the first few. And it was so, I don't want to say bad, but it was so that they didn't even have, the circumstances were a bit different back then. They didn't have separated restrooms. And she'd talk about having to go in and put the garbage can in front of the door to keep the men from coming in when she was using the restroom. And she put up with a lot of flack from that place for 35 years, but she stood up and she kept going back and she kept, she kept at it. She retired after 35 years. And so that's kind of the thing that's given me the wherewithal and I like a strong role model. I think role model is a much better word than hero, because a hero is something else in my mind, and that's just me. So I'm gonna interchange that, and I hope that's okay. But I'm going to say who's my role models, and that's a much easier question because heroes are a totally other kind of a different beast. I think hero is more specialized in that they've done something heroic, and just being admirable or successful is not heroic. So I'm gonna call that good. Let me see. Let me think of some others. There's a lady that wrote a book, And the reason that I admire her is because the book is so deep. The lady's name is Robin Shores, and the book is called Night Swimming, and I should have had it here on hand, and I didn't think of that. But this book is almost life-altering, you read it, and it's so deep, and it's all about that big life journey that changes you, and there's just so many layers, and it's so deep, and I don't even know if she's ever done another book after that one, but that book is so good that probably every 2, 3, 4 years, I just reread it because it's that good. And the weird thing is, it's kind of like Stephen King's book on writing. Every time I go back, I find something new. There's little juicy bits in there. And I think that's what I admire is, wisdom is part of it. There's a certain wisdom there in that depth. And I'm just rambling now. So I think I hit the 5-minute mark. So I'm kind of going to call it good, because otherwise I'll just sit and ramble. And y'all might like that, but I don't have a set. I really got hung up on this label of heroes. And so that through this video, this is probably, like I said, the 10th or 11th attempt at this, because I really struggled. I didn't want to name names. And I didn't want to offend, but I think hero is different from role model. So anyway, yeah, okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little, whatever it is. Thanks. Happy Vlogmas, and see you tomorrow.